Erica. Harm reduction. Psychologist. Narco-terrorist. Feminist terrorist. Hello?
Hello?
Erica?
Yes.
This is Gary Thompson calling from Toronto. I just watched the narco-feminist terrorist or whatever, the webinar with Louise Vincent, and they gave your number out to call. I'm a harm reduction worker, have been for many years. Started out in Vancouver back in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, anyway, you know that millions have been trained to deny rescue breathing and give chest compressions for drug overdose?
Wait, say that one more time?
That millions of people have been taught all the signs of drug overdose, patients comatose, labored shallow breathing, Cheyne-Stokes respiration, cyanotic, deny rescue breathing.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
of course.
Yeah, I know, and the morgues are full of non-drug overdoses. You deny rescue breathing from any hypoxic patient, they die.
Yes, I'm also a paramedic.
Yeah. Well, it's causing post-traumatic stress with the paramedics and the fire department and EMS because they're showing up to calls all the time. People given chest compressions when they were alive.
Yeah, that's a weird CPR training. Like, if you're not, I've heard this in CPR trainings. They are less anxious about checking a pulse anymore, which is weird to me. And also, if you don't have a barrier and you're not comfortable doing the rescue breathing, do the chest compressions because that circulates oxygen.
No, it doesn't.
But if their heart is beating, that makes no sense.
That's right. The signs of cardiac arrest is a rare event compared to respiratory emergencies, and the signs of The signs of respiratory emergency proves your heart's beat. You don't even have to check pulse. Cheyne-Stokes respiration, you're alive. Cyanotic, right? You're breathing, shallowly. Hypoxic, cyanotic, oxygen deprivation. You give them a couple of breaths, they'll start to pink up again.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I got Jerome Adams. He's the Surgeon General down there in the United States, telling people to give chest compressions for drug overdose.
There's so much garbage out there.
Well, I know the doctors are getting themselves killed. I'm showing up to calls. It doesn't matter who you are. You're getting chest compressions and oxygen deprivation. The doctors know better. You couldn't get into medical school not knowing about hypoxia.
Right. Oh, I've seen people Narcan in the emergency department after they restrain them.
Yeah, we'll see. No, they're worried about people fighting back. Well, it not only happens to drug overdoses, but anyone who's comatose and all of a sudden they wake up in a strange surrounding, of course they're going to be combative. What the hell am I doing here? Right?
Yeah, I definitely agree, but this was sent them way into withdrawal. This was punishment.
Yeah, I know. That's the trauma. Increase of more drug use and abuse. A lot of doctors, if they're saying, because there's side effects to naloxone, tachycardia, right? You already got a racing heart more than likely. And so, most doctors, if they're saying they just oxygenate, that's the first thing you got to do is stabilize the patient first with oxygen before you ever give them the. We've got overdose prevention sites in Canada.
Yeah, I visited a few.
Yeah, 67% of the time it's just oxygen. They don't even give naloxone.
Right. I intervened. One of my friends overdosed while we were in Toronto, and it was oxygen until it just. In his case, it was an hour, and he still wasn't breathing right. So.
Well, no, it's just like an anesthesiologist. They overdose on all kinds of things. As long as they keep you ventilated, you're not going to die. and on a pulsodometer meter, right? They're as cheap as dirt, right?
Yeah, a pulse ox is less than $20.
Yeah, I know.
15.
Yeah, I know. They should be putting them in the kits, and they should be putting 2 barrier masks in the kits too, at least 2, in case of multiple overdoses. Well, yeah, and it's costing the healthcare an untold fortune. There's so many people left with permanent brain damage and multiple organ system failure, oxygen deprivation.
Yeah.
And naloxone doesn't always work. You know, a long-acting opioid or polydrug overdose or fentanyl and stuff.
Sure, yeah, we've heard reports of people using so many doses of Narcan.
Yeah, and that intranasal is 4 milligrams. A lot of it's 4 milligrams. That's a massive dose. Don't do that. You know,
right.
you bring anybody.
We don't have a lot of nasal here.
Yeah, well, and the pricing they're jacking up, but it's utter nonsense. It's up on my Twitter. I've been publishing the resuscitation guidelines. It was Dr. Aaron Orkin. He's an emergency physician. In 2015, he was co-author of the 2015 AHA guidelines that says chest compressions. Well, he was on the stand at Brad Chapman's coroner's inquest, an overdose, and being questioned by the lawyers, he says rescue breathing saves lives. He's been telling everybody to give chest compressions. I was also publishing the 2015 guidelines about it. Well, the Heart and Stroke Foundation wrote them a letter back in 2015 and said stop doing that. Anyway, the executive director at Health Canada, she got canned in January last year, 2019, for blowing the whistle because Health Canada removed rescue breathing from their protocols. It used to say start with rescue breathing. They canned it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you can't can the executive director at Health Canada, top bureaucrat. You have to buy them out. Somebody.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, it's all on my Twitter at GaryCPR. The mayor of Toronto and a medical officer of health had a press conference back in 2017, said stop killing everybody. Of course, when you empower people, you're empowering them. The person's comatose, shallow breathing, blue-colored skin, deny rescue breathing, and pound on a beating heart. They're eagerly doing it to any respiratory emergency patient. Eagerly. Parents have killed their own children, and parents have committed suicide after they find out they killed their own child. Just increases drug use and abuse, dysfunctional society. There was a group of public school kids at City Hall on the 23rd of January with the chair of the Board of Health and the mayor. And an 8-year-old child says, we need oxygen to live. 8-year-old child. Anyway, I made a deputation on the 13th of January to the Board of Health. They told me to shut up, and you're not allowed to. That's against the procedures. A deputant has 5 minutes to speak, not to be interrupted. I quoted the Bible on them about rescue breathing. You know, and this is, you know, it was about the audit and accountability. I asked him, I says, who's going to be held accountable for all these deaths? Aren't you worried about your own death, suffer an injury or illness that puts you comatose, and people are eagerly going to deny rescue breathing and pound on a beating heart? Anyway, it's nice chatting, but do you want my phone number? You can call me and look up my Twitter.
Sure.
My phone number.
Okay.
Yeah. Got a pen?
Yeah.
647-864-6609. And it's Gary Thompson, GaryThompson.
Okay, Gary.
Yeah. And you look up on my Twitter, there's an article I was published in Emergency Medicine News, and it has the public health training literature, which proves you're alive, and then it says give chest compressions only. Yeah, I know. They're crazy. And not worried about it. I'm showing up to calls all the time. People, there's children are having a seizure or knocked unconscious from an injury or choking, and they're giving them chest compressions. Anaphylactic shock, they're giving them chest compressions.
Wow.
I know. Well, you're teaching me to do it. The doctor told me to do it, so I do it. Anyway, I'm having a lot of fun. I got a psychiatrist taking upgrading in my neuroscience class. She says, Gary's the sanest person in the whole province trying to stop mass murder. I says, what about you, doctor? The doctor says, leave my name out of it. I gave a lecture to forensic toxicology class to Michael Corbett, the professor. He's the most esteemed toxicologist in the province. So I had a 30-minute lecture to give out. 5 minutes, all these medical students had their heads down on the desk. I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear anymore. I said, you're crazy. They're making themselves sick. That got emotionally ill. Makes you emotionally ill. Cognitive dissonance, denial. Right? Anyway, you keep up the... Yep. Oh, I know Dan Big. Poor Dan Big. He was one nice guy, man. You're down there with the...
Yeah. I'm part of Chicago Recovery Alliance.
Yeah.
Dan was my buddy.
Yeah, Dan's a good guy. I liked him. He was on a news conference up here, a webinar with the Waterloo Regional Crime Prevention Council, and they're teaching chest compressions. This is the cops. Dan goes on to the training literature they have. He says, I came across my friend. He was completely blue. I started with chest compressions. It didn't seem to do too much good. Dan says, stop doing that. Rescue breathing. That's Dan, I know. And everybody knows it. God, I knew it when I was 5 years old. Breathing problem.
Sure.
It's just plain common sense. I remember watching cartoons, reading a cartoon book, right? And it's in color, and cartoons can be violent. So it's got grabbing one of the characters around the throat, and he starts turning blue. And I says, yeah, I guess he needs some air, eh? Anyway, Erica, you have a good one.
You too. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah.
And keep up the good work.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. The taxpayer's paying for all this. You figure there's that old saying, they talk, we die. Well, it should be. It should be, they talk, we all die. Right? Yeah, because you'd think the non-users would be screaming bloody blue murder too.
Yep.
Yeah, could happen to them. Anyway, look up my Twitter and pass it around.
All right,
I'm just into saving lives, and it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
Yep. Anyway, so you worked as EMS. Are you guys showing up to calls of people maltreated down there? Because it's happening here.
Are we doing what?
The EMS and fire showing up to calls and people, oxygen deprived because people have been told.
I'm not on a rig anymore.
Yeah. You got friends in.
I work full time as a social worker now. But I keep up my license.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure. Like first oxygen, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I know. Well, even the monograph that comes inside the box from the FDA, no mention of rescue breathing. Cheapers. What's his name? Gottlieb. The head of the FDA. I phoned up the FDA. I said, you're killing people. And they said, yeah, I know. You leave out respiratory assist, people are going to die. Every second, that's what happens. You overdose, you don't get air, and you don't have a baseline, but people come up and they're brain damaged. Some brain damage has happened, anoxia, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Gary,
Anyway.
I'm afraid I
Yeah.
gotta run, but
Yeah,
thank you
yeah,
so
it's
much
nice
for
talking to
calling.
you. Yeah, you have a good one.
Okay, take care.
Always. Bye-bye.
Bye.